Hi Professor, my name is Luca Jason Gading. Here I'm gonna talk about the video about food waste in Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Food waste for me is such a huge problem because in the industry when I was working and when I was in school, there are quite a lot of like food getting waste on the bin, like people throwing like produce that have some imperfection on it and they just throw it away without thinking like the inside is actually the same. Like imagine if you have like a peaches, like the fruit peaches, like the outside it maybe look ugly and there's some like outside looks perfect, but when you really open it, like the inside is actually the same, and people are thinking that imperfection product may cause us like some health problem to them, but actually like there's none like scientific like ways to like show it, like prove it. And from the video I learned that Americans throw away almost 40% of the food they produce like each year, and that's quite a lot. Like imagine like you're making 100% of the food and then you're losing like for like 40% of the yield. Like if you're doing that in a restaurant, that's actually like causing you like to lose like a lot of money. And then like if you calculate it by dollar bills, it's actually worth 165 billion every year in American dollars, and that's about like 20 pounds of food for each person every month in the states. Imagine like that's a quite a lot of food to like feed other people that are in need. Like some people like cannot afford food, and then like it's actually enough to fill 730 football stadium each year. And the amount of food thrown in United States has increased by 50% since 1974. A lot of food, like in the video they show like there's a dump bin in California for food waste, and a lot of food dumped in the California like still in great condition. There are a lot of lettuces, like greens that you can actually like, when I saw the video, like you can actually make a nice plate of salad from it. And then in 2013 there are almost 50 million Americans live in food insecure household. Imagine like you're living in like a country that can actually fill up 730 football stadium each year, like full of food, but there are still 50 million Americans that live in poverty, like they have food insecurity, like they're living pennies by pennies to buy their own food. And it's actually kind of sad. Like why are they not even like donating like the food to the people that are in need? And then the waste can actually like, the in the video they explain like a lot of like food waste, like if it's just like one apple falling to the ground and it's just gonna like dissolve by itself, and it's not actually like harmful to like humans. But if there are a lot of pile of like food waste in one place, it's the waste can actually create a methane. It's like a gas that can actually like, that is like actually harmful for like human to breathe in. And then also in the states tons of store overstock food because they want customer to go in their store and then buy it. Because like as a human, when you're in a store and then you saw like a rack full of apple, and then you saw the other store got only a rack on one apple, like obviously you're gonna like assume that like the only rack with one apple is like the bad piece because it's just like the last one. If you saw like a rack full of apple, you're gonna buy it from there. It's just simultaneously buying. And then a lot of imperfect produce don't even make their way to the store in America. As I said before, like there are some like peaches farm, like they're throwing it to the grounds because like the outside of it is like they get some imperfection on the skin outside, but actually on the inside is the same. Because like a lot of people are thinking about the aesthetic standard in the states, and then 91% of consumer throw away their food because they're concerned about like health issues. Like imagine like you saw a banana, like the skin is like black, like that doesn't like mean like anything. Like actually like the inside's still the same. Like if the inside is damaged, then you can have a, so like you can assume that the product is like already gone bad and it's like bad for your health. And the expiration date on food, like actually like company like modified the date because like they want to like create it shorter so like consumer like can buy it like much faster. And then like actually the biggest issues is like producer think that throwing away food is much more cheaper and efficient than like donating food to the food bank, because like when you're donating food to the food bank you need to box it, you need to store it, and then you need to do an overnight deliveries and etc etc. And it actually like costs a lot like for the producer to just donate like the food. And because of that, like actually like you can get a tax break, like you can actually like get a tax break for it like if you're donating food. And from the video that I just watched it, I actually agree but with the video because the video is quite informative, but they're not including like some of like the critical sources about the topic. And I found some article about the critical sources about the topic. And the first one is like the title is, "Are consumers willing to pay to reduce food waste?" Like they're talking about like, do you actually care and then you want to pay more to help the producer or like the restaurant to eliminate the food waste, or like do you actually like want to buy the food waste that they created? Because like some of the food waste they created is like actually not like a good condition. It's not, it's just because like the imperfection there, some scars in like the outside of like the food like or the produce, just like that. And then the second article is like the food waste, addressing our 160 billion pound public health challenge with policy and business intervention. Like just like I mentioned before in the video, they're talking like Americans are creating 160 billion dollar worth of food like every year, and that's like a lot. Like you can actually like build a lot of things with like 160 billion dollar. And then the third article is residential food waste collection excess in the United States from Biocycle. Like they're talking like a lot of like people in the residential area, like they don't even like know like how does like the bin, like the garbage bin like actually work, and then like where does the food waste actually goes. Like they can actually like, donate it to like the food bank or like other donation stuff. And then like actually like the residential area in the America like do donate a lot of food waste. Like they can actually donate like 15% of like the food they buying from the market or like the store. And then like the fourth article is called Americans waste 150,000 tons of food each day, equal to a pound per person. Like imagine, like they're wasting 150,000 tons of food each day, and there are like still a lot of like people in poverty, and then like living in like food insecurity household. And then like the fifth article is food waste alarming. Rice will see 66 tons thrown away every second. Like they're talking like the article, like they're talking more about food waste is like getting much more, like the amount is like getting much more critical, and we need to reduce it every time. Like it's just getting out of hand to like reduce it. And then the last article is like, how much food do we waste? Like they're talking like from my like perspective, like you do like the videos like only talking about Americans, even though like the like globally like we're actually like making a lot of food waste like everywhere in the world, like every continent, like we're creating food waste. But like there are some like there are like some cities, there are like some country that still need like help for food, like they're starving. A lot of people like getting like a lot of people getting disease like dyslexia and all the kind of disease. And then I think that's it for me. Thank you for watching.